Welcome to another edition of Black Box Thesis Talks, and we're here once again at Art Center's 950 Raymond campus, and we're here in the beautiful Graduate Studies gallery that's dedicated to the gallery programs at Art Center. Here at Art Center we have 9 graduate departments, and right now in this exhibition titled Reveal, we have 6 departments present. And today we're going to actually meet Prachiti Kamath, and she is a spatial experience design graduate major, and in fact she'll be graduating next week. And so we can really learn a bit about her process and about her thesis and about her creative journey. So welcome everybody, let's have a seat and welcome Prachiti. Hi Prachiti.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you? Good to see you, have a seat. I love your exhibition.
Thank you.
It's amazing, there's so many different scales and so many different pieces to it. So tell us a bit about your creative journey.
So I did my 4-year undergrad degree in interior design and from School of Built Environments in Mumbai.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked for about 2 years in areas like residential, commercial, and experiential museum kind of exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I understood I had no interest in residential or commercial, but I'm very much interested into experiential design. And
why was that?
it just was fascinating to do more immersive kind of experiences where there's no you're not doing you're doing human-centered design, but in a different way than how it is in residential or in office spaces. So I liked how interactively plays, or like how colors or like lighting and stuff went around that space. So it was really interesting.
So how did you discover Art Center?
While doing that, when I was looking at experiential design, and I was talking to my employer, my boss, and that is when I kind of researched on how or where I can learn experiential design. That's when ArtCenter came in the picture. So because there's no other course or school who does experiential design, or it's mostly interiors, architecture, or landscape and stuff. So this was really a niche course, and ArtCenter was there for me to do it. So yeah.
That's great. So how's that experience been for you at Art Center?
It's been great. I'm sad that I'm graduating.
I know, it's amazing to have this exhibition. It's really about uncovering the layers of process and meaning. And I believe some of the things that we see here are part of the process of the thesis. So maybe firstly, let me ask you, we can talk about the thesis itself. What is a thesis about, and what is the deeper aspects of that or insights that can come from it? What was that for you?
So Thesis is very much different from all the other studios I've been working on at ArtCenter. So it's not the 14-week kind of a project which we do. And graduate thesis much more deeper into research or having an impact or something like that. So my thesis has been, I've been working on my thesis since last 2 terms. And I started way off in summer when I started inquiring of what I really wanted to do. So I took a course which was called B-Lab, and that is how I kind of enhanced or expanded my research and got my thesis inquiry sorted. So my thesis process started from summer to fall to now spring, and now it's done. But it's mostly about getting deeper into my thesis is called Bigger Picture, Smaller Lens. So it was more about getting into the smaller lenses, the aspects, and the resolutions of going deeper into what's not or what's beyond the surface level of nature. So something like that.
So it's about nature, or is it about what is that lens shift? Is that about nature or ecology, or what kind of nature do you speak of?
It started off with nature, which was my deepest connection to since I was a kid. So it started off from nature to what nature is all about. So it's how basically what is involved in nature, what is involved in the living ecosystem around us. And it's not just humans, it's all the other living species which contribute to the nature much more than how much humans do. So it went on from that to getting into the deeper insights of pollinators. So my project right now is how can redesigned environmental narratives and spatial storytelling through the lens of pollinators, and how can humans basically get connected to or get empathetic towards these pollinators. So my entire thesis is about magnifying the pollinators' presence and kind of building the empathy towards them.
Yeah. And that's fascinating. So, having said all that, what was the brief you created for yourself in order to capture all those aspects?
Brief, as in?
It's like, what is the project?
Oh, okay. So I started off with, I wanted to create an exhibit. So I started off with an exhibit, but it has expanded so much to like an 800,000 square feet park.
Wow.
So yeah, it's now like I have designed a system which is of 2 exhibition spaces, to 3 experiential zones, which are outdoor, and then the entire park. And I've created it for kids because I think you need to know about, or you need to be aware about these species, about nature, about the ecosystem at a very young age. So my entire thesis is about how we can basically educate, but not through general education, but like an edutainment system for the kids who can learn about ecological awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It sounds like this kind of storytelling and narrative design has a lot of components. It sounds like, or what I'm seeing here, it feels like it has aspects of landscape, has aspects of museum, exhibition. It has a lot of different aspects to it. And then you kind of think about, also what I'm seeing here in your loose process is that scale shift, that lens shift that you're talking about. I mean, what are some of the things that we're kind of looking at here?
Yeah, these are different kind of pieces which came together in my thesis. These are basically sketch models that I worked on like last term. So basically playing around from sketching to like building sketch models of how human perspectives, or through human perspectives, and how humans might see the entire smaller scale shift of the entire ecosystem. So that is what you see, like you see different ideations of like roofing, different kind of concepts of how I wanted an experience to be like, and like how it stitches together with nature. So the roof basically blends in with the landscape. So I didn't want basically to create a built environment within a park, or like take out the park and build an architectural kind of component, but I wanted to blend in the park within the kind of built environments.
Does this have a location?
Yeah, so my location, my context is, I was looking at Southern California and the LA region. So I was like researching on plants and pollinators which are found in and around LA. Because I spoke to a lot of people, and there are a lot of people right now who are interested in like conservation of these kind of species, or like interested in native habitats and plantations. So I was looking at LA region. So the best site I could think of was the LA State Historic Park, right in the middle of the city, vast and expansive kind of location, which is really good.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I think that's a beautiful project. I actually did see your thesis presentation a couple of days ago, and everybody can see Prachiti's works, your final project at the ArtCenter Grad Show, which is happening next Thursday and Saturday. If you're in Pasadena or LA area, please come visit Prachiti's project. So I thought it was really successful. I really enjoyed it because I'm kind of familiar with that park too, and it's actually a beautiful kind of a nature, almost like a wild kind of nature park, and has a lot of the sort of like native plantings, and drop tolerant things, and then has a soft topography, and it feels like it's not really invasive, right? You kind of thought about it in terms of the way you would see it or experience it along the kind of journey of the park.
Yeah, and the park is quite big. So I picked up was the central zone of it, which is also big, but I took like a piece of the park for my thesis, or my system, just for, I mean, it started off as a system in LA, but I really want to expand it to different visit different cities and explore different kind of native habitats around different cities. So it starts off at LA,
Yeah.
part of LA.
No, I think we really enjoy hearing the reasons of this, project, this whole thesis from like being a child, being interested in nature, and then taking the course, the Design Matters course at ArtCenter, the B Lab. So this is really also seems like an extension of that too. And maybe like in the thesis like inquiry you did, like what were some of the things that you learned from B Lab that you actually went deeper into on your thesis works?
So in B Lab, it was all about bees.
Okay.
And before B Lab, I thought honeybees were the greatest pollinators. So in B Lab, I was introduced to all the other 20,000 ground bees, which give us 80% or 85% of the food we eat. So was that whenever I would go outdoors, I could only see bees and I could spot, okay, this is ground bee, this is native bee, or this is a honey bee. So that's where my interest in bees kind of got into me. And from there, I was like, what are the other pollinators? Because we talk about bees being the biggest pollinator species, but I didn't want to basically kind of ignore the rest of the pollinator world, which are also very important. So from there, I kind of started researching about other pollinators. So it was like hummingbirds, monarch butterflies, and the other 1,600 bees which we see around LA. So I wanted to basically, and moths and wasps and every other pollinator which we find. So I didn't want to ignore them and just focus on bees. But so I made a pollinator part. It's called pollinatrium.
Right. Oh, really?
Yeah, which is like
That's
a
clever.
pollinator's terrarium, something like that. So
Is that a
yeah.
difficult editing process? Because it feels like there's so much there.
Yeah.
Did you get like overwhelmed with all the
I
information?
did. Interestingly, like in the initial stages of my thesis, I had different kind of structures or like exhibitions for different kind of species. So there was a pavilion which was all about bees, and there was another one which is all about birds, and then the other one which is butterflies. And it was a very big kind of project, which I mean, honestly, it wouldn't have been completed through this thesis project. It would have taken like 3 years maybe to develop it. So I kind of focused on bees as a pavilion, wherein I've incorporated moths and wasps, which are bee mimics, which look like bees, but are also pollinators, but are not bees. So I started that, and then I kind of took out some experiences from the bird pavilion, which is like only for hummingbirds.
Right.
So I took out hummingbirds experiences and I took out monarch butterflies experience and made like a system where I kind of picked and choose what is important and what I can develop in this thesis.
Sounds like you have a lot of clarity to it. I mean, I know it'd be like, oh my gosh, there's so much out there. How do you choose? But I guess you had to define your own kind of metrics of what to choose, and then I guess thinking about what experiences you would offer and who would be enjoying those.
And it's basically this entire park is not only an indoor experience, it's an outdoor experience too. So when you come out, you actually learn in the nature world. So I need not have, even if I have different immersive experiences or educational experiences inside the pavilion, the main exhibit is basically what you learn there and come out and see in the nature world. So that has all the other aspects which I was initially looking at, like all my research about the birds and plants and butterflies and everything. So, yeah.
Thank you for that summary. I guess we definitely have to go to your grad show to learn more about it, and maybe check out your works online to really learn more about this project and the other works that you do. Maybe we shift the conversation a little bit too. It's every one of the exhibits here, we have a series of questions that we ask everybody, because it's really about uncovering the process, and this whole exhibit isn't really so much about the shiny object, so that's why we don't see your final model here today. It's really more about the process and uncovering the deeper meaning in a kind of a graduate thesis project. And I think that's one of the main reasons that we put this exhibit together too. It's because ArtCenter is known for really polished works, and I think this exhibit really works with the kind of graduate pedagogy of going deeper into inquiry into projects. And one of the questions we ask too is really like, this is good. We have a conversation about materiality. You know, how do you think about materiality in your projects, and what is it you want to evoke from that, and what are some of the choices that you make? What's your philosophy on this?
You don't really see any kind of materiality in my sketch models,
Okay.
but definitely have it in my final model. But it's very important, like at least for me, and this project was really important to have materiality which is more grounded, rooted, and raw. And one of my most loved materials is ramble, which I mean the weight of it, the discovery of or the play of working around Earth, and the textures and the gradients it offers. I think that's what it basically kind of helps the visitor to stay grounded, see, feel, touch, and also rammed Earth as a material kind of helps me blur the lines between what's a man-made built structure with the landscape. So it kind of blends in well. So if you see my final project, you'll see mostly like clay plaster around Earth. Something which is very raw, texturous, and has nice gradients of Earth.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very sensory based. So you think about how all the senses engage, you know, for the viewer or the guest, and you know, we have this you know, haptics, and haptics is really like teasing the senses. Is that something that comes into your work?
It does.
Your process?
It does. It definitely does. I mean, the entire idea was how we could blend the inverse and outdoors. That was the idea, and haptics definitely is a part of it. Like it kind of starts with like when you walk into the space, it starts with how the blending of nature, the landscape with the interiors, and then slowly moves on to like how even if it's artificial or like how it kind of resonates with what's outside. So haptics really, I think so.
Are some materialities you use meant to be seen, and that creates a kind of a sensory experience, or are they all like an invitation to touch, or how do you?
I think materiality not only on surfaces but also in my interactions, in my like, because it's all about bees. I wanted the kids to basically touch and feel where a bee kind of habitats in. So there's like different haptic sensory zones where you put your hand into pack of mulch, or you just like touch and feel, or like find bees into their habitats. So it's like basically living or like understanding different kind of natural habitat zones, and then you can feel and touch and like engage into it.
That's really unique, and I'm sure you know, you visited a lot of like children's museums and nature spaces and things like that. Were these some things that you saw that were like missing or void from these kinds of spaces?
I think so. I mean, I wouldn't name which one,
Right.
but I visited one, and it was kind of more like interactive, but it was more artificial kind of a presentation of a space. When you come out, you basically in the landscapes of it, you kind of engage it more naturally. But when you're indoors, it's very much so artificial and like exhibit kind of quality, which I didn't want to do.
Right.
I wanted to blend in both of it.
I guess in a way it's kind of a risk too, because I guess you have to think about like in public, you know, you have to think about like surfaces and materials that are robust enough to hold up and you can clean. Is that challenging?
Also I think like people when they talk about like design or like a spatial design, they like it more like clean lines, polished, and like very much functional. For me, it's very different. For me, it's how you feel, how it evokes emotions, or like just creates that kind of an awareness, or like something like that.
It almost feels like, I mean, just from a theory perspective, it sounds almost like a phenomenology approach or something, you know. Are you aligned with that kind of thinking then? Or are you aligned to, I guess I could go further with that, are you aligned with a particular like design theory, or how do you?
Not very much, so I think I've learned it over the years of like practice and just working on my project. So I think like this thesis especially helped me get that kind of theory for myself.
Okay, so it's more intuitive kind of.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
But I think I carried it forward, definitely.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what you do next. So that's one of our questions from the inquiry, and we have a couple. I just want to take a reference here, but one of them was really, does your work uncover like hidden meaning, or do you kind of think about your work like in layers? Like, do you want people to experience one thing and then another, or how do you think about that approach, about what you want to share or in terms of discovery for the?
I think my entire thesis is about uncovering something which is beyond our immediate awareness. So, I mean, this question very much so relates to what I'm doing. So for me, it's basically kind of, this project was basically to have humans open their eyes and kind of not be so self-obsessed and like basically don't think that this world is only for them, but there's other living species equally involved in the space, and I wanted to uncover the hidden kind of perspectives and the hidden world which is beyond what you see around us. So that is what my process basically.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Uncovering
So you want to share a new appreciation of the things we see and take for granted, maybe.
Yeah.
And so maybe we come to your space with a new appreciation. We won't get bothered by these and invite them.
I think so.
Yeah. But also that's I think a beautiful invitation for those to understand the world, in a new, fresh way.
Yeah. It's more about how you uncover stillness or like just experiences which is not very directly converse to you, but just like how you can basically resonate with or like reflect from it, something like that.
It's intriguing, and I guess as a spatial experience designer, it's kind of like you have moments that people can linger on, maybe. And I guess, do you think about taking in a certain amount of information and not overwhelming the viewer, or how do you think about that process of kind of like, I guess, navigating something you design?
I think layering is good. Like when I started zoning my space, I zoned it in a way that how basically it's an underground space. So I zoned it in a way where you feel you're inside a bee's turret, which is bee's home, and you go underground because these are ground bees. So you go underground and see through the bee's eyes. So how a bee lives, how a bee hovers around. So the entire circulation and the layering was in steps where you hover around the space, but with that you also discover different zones, which kind of helps you, like starts with introduction to what you want to learn, or like what you should learn, then going in and being in the shoes of the bees, and then going in and seeing through the eyes of the bees, and then coming out from the underground kind of experience, coming out and exploring outside. So it's always been in different layers and different zones, and kind of it uncovers with each experiences.
Bees have shoes? I was trying to imagine, like, what are these shoes like? No, I love the invitation that you're describing, how to understand the world, kind of getting more micro into that kind of landscape and viewing the way they view. I think that can create kind of an empathy, or even a compassion, or more of a connection to nature in that way. Yeah, right. Thank you. Another question we have here is, I guess you covered this, but so do you think that your work can disrupt or challenge certain norms? Are you not trying to do that, or how do you think about your work in that way, in terms of the normative expression versus something really far out? Or where do you lie within your work, or the kind of work you want to do, or the way you think about things?
I think that I spoke a little bit about it, but the challenge, like basically my challenge is for the direct communication through spatial experience, or like the direct kind of as I said, the polished experience or the functional experience. I think my challenge or my idea is to challenge that and kind of help visitors discover the space when they are in it, or like with materiality, or with like the play of light, or how like the light moves through the day and you experience different things, the stillness of it. So I think that is what I'm looking ahead for.
Okay, good. Would you say your process and what you invite, this project and other projects thinking is that, it's an interesting question. I think about the narrative of the storytelling. Is it one story? Is it linear in a way for you? Or do you think about design in a way where there's choices, or people can have different experiences? Maybe every time they come, they kind of do it differently. How do you think about that?
I think that's a great one. Like, I think I really want to do that. Definitely. I mean, you get bored if you go to the same place and like see the same things. And it might be different for kids, like kids age 3, and then when they grow older, they might have a different experience. But for people who basically accompany that, they're going to be bored going to the same place. So there needs to be some kind of change, or like some kind of evolution in spaces, or like experiences. And depending on the technology right now, the generation we are in, I think it's evolving, and I think it's a great way to kind of incorporate the evolution of different things, and how people see, how people understand keeps changing. So I think that evolution needs to be incorporated in the space, and so every time you visit, you have some kind of a different experience, or different adventure, or some different discovery you do.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
I'm getting the sense that your strategy, your design philosophy has like subtleties in it too. So maybe people think of discovery as like a big surprise or something like that. But I feel like the way you're speaking about it, I'm getting the sense of that. Is that, am I right? Or
Yeah, it is totally, yeah.
Okay. Good. And so that would invite us to come again and again, right? And understand it differently every time we come. Thank you. Okay, maybe one last question too is, so based on being part of this, which, thank you for being part of this exhibition. I know it's a huge amount of work, and you basically replicated this and have a polished out project based on everything we see here today. Being part of this exhibition, have you felt a shift at all in yourself, or the work you want to do, or your philosophy? Has this show, what has this show done for you in that way? Being part of this?
I think it kind of revealed, like, before this, like, I knew what my process was, but this kind of got it out, and then I kind of understood that it's been a process. It's been a great process. Like, I see different things on an exhibit. I see how I've evolved. Like, if I see this doesn't exist in my space anymore, but I know how this has evolved into my research, or like how it's grown into something much bigger, or like bigger or smaller in that sense. But kind of unveiled what my process was, which I somehow kind of missed taking ahead with me. I think so. But this helped me very much of understanding that this has been a very long and kind of interesting process.
Was like being part of this show with other disciplines, on this graduate
really
level?
Like, I had not been a part, or like I had not seen the processes of different departments. Like for furniture and lighting, I've seen the process, but like for graphic or any other, I have not seen the process. So this was like a nice, or like a revelation of basically connecting how how all our processes kind of intertwine
Mhm.
somehow in some way, but also are very different in the other ways.
Mhm.
So it was really nice to understand that we are all looking at like maybe like human-centered design, like we all in some or the other way, like graphics or like industrials or furniture. We are all doing ergonomics or like how like ergonomics in lettering or like just like ergonomics in seating spaces or like something like that. We all have some kind of an identity by ourselves, but also we intertwine in our processes too. So that was really interesting to know. So it was, I mean, it was revealed in this.
Yeah, I get the sense there's a deeper essence to the work
Yeah.
too, but very different
Right.
processes.
Yeah.
Also, I think last black box talk we learned from the furniture, lighting fixture side, and now we're learning spatial, and then next time we'll learn more about masters, graphics, what's that like. So, Prachiti, thanks so much for doing this, and how do we find out more about you and your work?
You can follow me on Instagram, Prachiti_Kamath, and you can also go through my website, which is most of my projects, and my graduate thesis project will also be there
Okay, we'll
very
have that
soon.
posted right here. So.
Please post it.
Yes.
But also, I'll reveal my final model,
Yeah.
final project in the grad show.
Yeah. Well, we wish you the best of luck, and really enjoyed speaking to you about your process and all the multiple layers of it. It's super fascinating and complex, and I can't wait to see the show. And I believe the grad show is next Thursday and next Saturday. And our next Black Box Talk is going to be on May 16th, and that's going to be exciting. We're going to have Shenji Wu over here featured. And at the same time, on that evening is, I believe, the kickoff for Pen and Matter. And so that's a massive art publication exhibition that's happening at ArtCenter, I think, for the first time in this entire space. So everybody please come and join us, and thank you for being here. Say goodbye.